Guys of a Certain Age is brought to you by no one. Absolutely no one. Except these dudes walking down memory lane. Now let's head to the studio to see what they misremember next.
And it's time once again for Guys of a Certain Age. This is Art Shirley, and I'm joined in the studio with
Jay Reed.
And I have nothing really clever to say. I thought I did, but I was going to try something. We just talked about how hot it is. I was going to say something about how close we were to the yellow sun, so maybe we'd be even more powerful.
Yeah, I think the yellow sun in Mississippi has the opposite effect.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't bring power; it just weakens
Humidity
you.
is our kryptonite here.
Oh gosh, we came out of the aforementioned alluded to movie last night, Superman, and it was just, I mean, it was, probably 9:30, and it was just thick.
Yeah.
Thick with humidity.
So you saw it last night. I saw it this past Saturday.
And supposedly Robbie saw it.
Oh, did he? Okay, I didn't know if he'd seen it
over the weekend. And
okay.
He hasn't reported in yet, but he said he was
possibly
planning
we can
to.
see it, or we can talk about it next time we're all three together. Okay,
so
good deal.
September, October, maybe we'll get together and do that.
Yeah, right after Fantastic Four 2 launches. We'll do that.
Right.
Fantastic Four is coming out in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and my wife went with me this time.
Yeah, Becky and Will, we all went, and we all enjoyed it. We liked it a lot. I know you said you're still on the fence.
Yeah, I haven't decided yet.
Yeah.
I'm still pondering.
Yeah, there's a couple of things in there that I had questions about, but yeah, overall enjoyed it. But we'll talk about that officially. That's not what we're talking about now.
No.
We have something later that's really going to be exciting for the people out there. I just know it.
In the same universe, so to speak.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
maybe it shouldn't be.
Maybe start off with Geeks of the Week. What have you have for Geeks of the Week?
Well, actually, I'm going to go with the Superman theme for Geeks of the Week. I'd kind of looked at some numbers just to see how it played out as far as box office and all that. And it seems to be doing pretty well. I don't have, the up-to-date, but over the first weekend, it performed better than the last 5 DC movies.
Yeah.
And it's good. It seems like it's going to be a good thing for DC. It may not be it hasn't been as high as some of the previous ones. But in looking, kind of going down that rabbit hole, I was looking at salaries. I came across not a meme, but I saw a screenshot of somebody. They were talking about how Corin Sweat, his base salary was like $750,000.
That should have been the lead-in.
Yeah,
we're Corin sweating down.
Corin sweating. That's right.
We'll save that for next time.
Yeah. So he made $750,000, as did Rachel Brosnahan. She made $750,000, but Nicholas Hoult $2 million.
Yeah.
Which kind of illustrates what I looked at, because I went back and said, well, what did Henry Cavill make?
Yeah, he made like $500,000, right? $300,000.
His first movie.
Yeah.
First movie, $300,000. And according to what I read, that was kind of the going rate for more or less unknowns stepping into superhero roles. And he probably made millions more with, box office receipts and that kind of stuff later. But what I thought was fascinating was that his cameo in Black Adam, he made $250,000, which is almost as much as he made for the whole movie.
Wow.
In Man of Steel. So it just goes to show. I mean, it's going to bump up, and if this one turns out to be a big hit and Corin Sweat stays around, then he'll do the same. I actually saw that he was game for an R-rated Superman.
He was game for an R-rated Superman, and that segues nicely into my geek. If you want to go ahead with mine,
yeah, go for it.
Green Lantern, the series that is coming out. Gunn is behind this, of course, since he's behind all of the new DC products. This is going to air on HBO Max, and apparently it is very much an R-rated series, which I had not realized before, and I'm a little disappointed in it, I have to tell you, because I kind of like the idea of being able to bring in new generations of fans before you go Deadpool. But Nathan Fillion said he has dropped more F-bombs in this series than in his entirety of his career otherwise.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's mostly language R-rated, maybe violence?
I'm sure. I mean, if you've seen John Cena's Peacekeeper, and which is the same kind of thing.
I saw a few, and that's season 2.
Suicide Squad, Gunn's Suicide Squad is really kind of a Deadpool-esque raunchy kind of thing, which I know a lot of people like, but I'm afraid that people are going to come out of the Superman movie and think, oh, okay, here's more content, with featuring those, lovable, family-friendly folks. And,
right.
oh, my gosh, what is this? And we don't have another movie, which is going to be Supergirl, I think, is the next one coming out.
Yes.
Or maybe the Green Lantern thing is the next product coming out. But anyway, we don't have a movie for a while. And so if this is the next offering, is that going to kind of cut things off at at the knees here with this? So
I guess I'm a bit of a prude, but I know what Deadpool is.
Yes.
I can go into Deadpool and know what I'm expecting.
Right.
And I'd kind of like to personally keep that in the Deadpool universe.
Yes.
I know when I go into Deadpool what it's going to be. But I don't want
we've
it to be
seen
in
the
everything.
Deadpool movies. We've seen the Deadpool movies. We enjoy those for what they are. I thought this was hilarious. Laughed through the whole thing and loved it. But again, you know that expecting Green Lantern, I don't think is that kind of thing. Even when you had Ryan Reynolds playing Green Lantern, it wasn't that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
I hope we don't go to everything being that way.
I'm afraid that's kind of where. That's my concern too. I'm afraid Superman, and especially after Corn Sweat's. Oh, I'd like to do an R-rated Superman. Well, why?
Well, I don't want to spoiler any of our conversation for later when we get to talk about Superman. But even this one was the edgiest Superman yet, as far as language and that kind of stuff. It was not R-rated,
right?
But
you had some stuff.
There was
in
a
there.
lot of language in there that was not in other Superman movies.
Yeah.
So that's we're going that direction. I'm not sure I love it.
Yeah, no, and admittedly, we're maybe not the target demographic anymore.
Right.
And in fact, very understandably, we're not the target demographic anymore. But yeah, that's the same way I feel about it anyway. So.
Yeah. But I'll watch the Green Lantern until I can't.
Yeah.
See how it goes, because that's a world I don't know that much about.
Well, and the other thing too, I'm disappointed in the series is it takes place on Earth. It's a terrestrial mystery, and I'm thinking you've got the Green Lantern Corps, which is your space-faring folk, and I think that's a huge missed opportunity to keep it all on Earth as they wander through, looking like two detectives, in a buddy detective movie, and we've seen that before.
Yeah.
Just the buddy cop movie. We've seen that before. Just the fact that they have lantern rings now. I feel like I'm not as excited about that as I thought I was going to be. So we'll see.
Well, maybe it'll be
great.
Successful, and maybe it won't. And maybe if it's
That's
not,
right.
they'll turn back.
That's right. We'll see. All right.
They'll listen to this podcast.
That's right. As they all do.
Follow.
Yeah. We'll get another call from Peter Gunn.
Shout out to James.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks. We're right here. He's probably cussing us right now. But anyway, so we've got something special in store on the other side of the break.
That's right.
Okay, so we'll see you right then. And now it's time for Jay's Regrettable Segment. Yes, Jay's Regrettable Segment today brought to you by Monsters.com. You may be needing a new job through some accidental statement you made last week about a current employer, and if so, please turn to Monsters.com. Maybe they can help you out. No research or no references are needed with Monster.com, and maybe they don't listen to any podcasts that you may or may not be associated with. So, Monsters.com, proudly bringing you Jay's Regrettable Segment. And now, regrettably, here's Jay.
So today we're going to do another Regrettable Round-Up. As so regular listeners might remember that when we started going through this book by John Marsh, The League of Regrettable Superheroes, there was about 52. We thought, we can do one a week for a year and we'll be done. And that is not. Thinking? I think we're a year and a half in and ready to finish.
Yes,
I think
so. Yeah. So I don't think we regret the segment at all.
It's been fun. I think it's been fun.
Yeah, I think it's been fun.
Yeah, and I've learned a lot.
Just couldn't always get to it.
Yeah. So we're gonna kind of do a 4-pack today and see how that goes, and then that'll leave us a couple when Robbie comes back. Because one of his faves is still there, so I saved it for him. So
that's right.
So the first one is actually, and we got today. There's going to be some. There's a DC, there's a Marvel, and then there's two other comic.
Okay.
So we kind of got a good variety. The first one is just called Prez. You'd heard of this.
Yeah, 73. You said it came out.
And you probably know the writers Joe Simon and Jerry Grandinetti.
Okay.
This came out first in Prez #1. It's a DC product. This was in fall of 1973. Also known as the first teen president, although He was 21, therefore he was not a
Okay.
teen.
Okay.
But the guy's name was Prez Ricard. In this bit of origin story, I would like to know more about it. He's from a place called Steadfast, that's the name of the town.
Okay.
Where there were hundreds, if not thousands, of clocks, and none of them None of them had the same time.
Oh,
so
that's interesting.
For whatever reason, he was into the clocks and decided to get them all ticking together, and he did that, and that brought notice to a guy named Boss Smiley.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what fixing clocks has to do. There's a clock museum not far, from our homes. We are
as we record.
My dad collects clocks. But anyway, I don't know why that qualifies you to be a senator, but Boss Smiley endorsed him. He became a senator, and then through some sort of constitutional amendment that was rushed through, he became president. So he's
so he was not elected president.
As far as I could tell, he was not elected, but that's a bit of the story I didn't deep dive into. Yeah. But so eventually he rejects the boss's influence, and he has a guy named Eagle Free. That's his friend who is listed in. And I need to say, a lot of the stuff of this description in all these has been from the book.
Yes.
There's other information out there, and I haven't done a deep dive into all the other stuff. So some of these things are just the opinion of the of the writer,
author,
right? Mm-hmm. Which is fine. But he said that he describes Eagle Free as a Native American as a friend to animals and the FBI director. So this is definitely a political appointee. So some of the enemies, this is what found kind of interesting and odd at the same time. So that he has the usual assassination attempts, rambunctious activists, legless vampires, and giant evil robot chess pieces. That's the kind of things that Prez faced.
Okay.
But I think the gist of the story, whatever Joe Simon and Jerry Grandinetti were trying to do was kind of bring attention to anti-status quo, kind of baby boomers versus business as usual kind of thinkers. One interesting, there was an unpublished story that was reported where he, around the time of Watergate, Prez rid D.C. of dual kinds of bugs, the electronic bugs and also some actual vermin. Yeah. But I think maybe the most fascinating, I did look in some sort of DC fandom wiki thing. There's, if you want to get it now, there's a graphic novel that includes Prez number 1 through 4, and I guess Prez made some appearances elsewhere. But the fascinating thing is Neil Gaiman adapted the story into, I think it's Sandman number 54, kind of changed the face of the characters, but it's essentially the same story. So that's also in the graphic novel, is this issue of the Sandman.
Wow.
And that was in 2016. And then, I mean, if you look up Prez DC, or Prez comic, it's also going to bring out one from 2015, also called Prez, but it was a girl named Beth Ross who became the teen president. She was actually a teen, some sort of Twitter sensation, et cetera, et cetera. So there's been more than one version, but the one in the book is the original 73 Prez Ross that I think you said you'd heard of. Oh, yeah.
I was going to say, this is when I was, of course, I'm 11 years old probably, so not quite into the peak time of my buying comic books, but certainly was, seeing these things on the spinner rack. And I can remember I'm looking at the front cover and just the masthead alone, some of the stuff, DC 20 cents, that's about the time I was doing stuff. I remember when it went to 25, and then of course it started skyrocketing after that. But I remember seeing this. I never bought it. I didn't own this and never read this, but I do remember seeing the character, and of course you'd see ads for him in other comic books. For what was going on with it. Definitely, came out as a response to Watergate and what was going on politically at the time. And which was a lot at the time. And you said kind of, let's see, kind of capitalizing on some of the folks that were probably, as much as 5 to 10 years older than I were, that was at the time, in their early 20s, and kind of picking up on that audience. And I can see how it would appeal to a younger, I think so too, someone of that age anyway. So. But so we redeemable, regrettable.
I don't think it's regrettable. I don't know. I'd like to see more about, the difference in fighting the legless vampires versus, the
I think the idea of having a young president, especially maybe, the day now as we've had, such, ever since Obama left office, we've had so much, older presidents.
Right.
So the idea of going to a youth president, and especially, and it wouldn't appeal to my age anymore since I'm not that, I don't qualify as that, but, for our kids' age, possibly, something that would be kind of a young, maybe not a teen president, but almost
very
ridiculously young, what do you have to be, 30?
I was a big fan of, that's right, you have to be 30, yeah.
35, 30, whatever.
So you'd need a constitutional amendment in the show.
And I think that would be kind of, to kind of make that happen, that'd be okay. I would get away from I don't think I would go with the vampires and stuff.
Right.
I think I think you could have equally absurd villains that are more based in reality that they could take on. I think that might be interesting. So I'm going to say redeemable.
Yeah, I would agree. And because I was a big fan of Doogie Howser, MD, back in the day.
Very much. That's kind of what I had, in mind was a
I think you
Doogie
could definitely
kind of thing.
That same spirit, but with politics. Yeah. I think. And, I mean, it would be interesting to see how a teen or at least a 20-something president handle situations versus political cabinets and things like who would he choose or she
yeah if you went with what is it, Beth Ross?
Yeah I can see that happening. And I really want to I kind of want to I mean, I know there's controversy right now with Neil Gaiman, but I love The Sandman. I'm looking forward to season 2. I know it's out now. I haven't watched it yet, but I'd be kind of curious, having watched that now, how he played this into his comic. So I may have to look that one up later.
All right.
So Prez, redeemable.
Right. Those are our two choices, right? Redeemable, regrettable.
Well, there was regrettable, non-regrettable, and redeemable.
Okay.
So I think
redeemable is our top choice.
Redeemable would be something that you could, maybe, I think
salvage. I think
this is a perfect example of redeemable.
I think you're right. Yeah.
You can make it into something that would be redeemable.
Okay. What do we have next, Jay?
Next is Skateman.
Skateman.
Yes. Okay, so Neil Adams, I know you know that name.
Yes, that's right.
Was involved in this. He moved on to bigger and better things later.
Okay.
Maybe DC and Marvel. I can't remember. I read, but I can't remember what his claim to fame was. I know they mentioned Green Lantern, X-Men.
Wait, you talking about Neil Adams' claim to fame?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He was the premier Batman artist.
Okay.
He defined the new Batman that took him away from the 60s camp Batman.
Okay.
He and Denny O'Neil did and the thing is, I've read this recently. We think he did just like a year's worth of Batman, but he didn't do there wasn't a whole lot of Batman episodes he did, but what he did was so, it made such an impact. Yeah.
Okay.
And then Green Lantern, he did Green Lantern and Green Arrow.
Right, that's what
which was very much social political commentary kind of thing. But he's in a lot of lists. He's the top comic book artist for most folks.
So artist would be his claim.
Yes. He's written stuff recently. I mean, he's always had probably input into the story, and he has written some stuff recently. Of course, he's passed away a few years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. My geek was going to be. I'm getting an artist edition of his that has large scale drawings of his that I'll show you. I'll share that with you when I get it.
Well, he that's interesting because it did mention in the book that this particular comic was known for its art, for really good art. But
who's the publisher of this?
This is Pacific Comics.
Yeah, okay.
November '83, Skateman #1. So, and we'll get back to Neil Adams, but the sort of the origin story, a guy named Billy Moon. Vietnam War, comes back from Vietnam, obviously, like so many vets, got lots of things going on, in his soul. And apparently the thing that he found to soothe his issues was roller derby.
Roller derby?
Cricket. Yep.
Sorry.
Roller derby. And in the course of roller derby, he crosses, in a bad way, some branch of the mafia that is particularly interested.
Okay. When did this come out?
In the derby scene, 1983.
1983. Okay. Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So the mafia frames him for the death, an on the rink or in the rink death of one of his friends. He's framed for this murder or death, whatever. He finds some healing, and we don't know much about this woman. Her name is Angel. He finds some comfort in hanging out with her, and then a random biker gang comes by and slashes her, and she's gone. So he's got a lot of issues. Continually coming up. So he's got a friend that's into comics. He looks in the comics and he decides he's going to become a mask vigilante with a skating theme.
Okay.
So, and if it is mentioned one time that in one, I guess Skateman #1 is the only issue of it, and he's wearing these white booty shorts. They say
white booty shorts.
Booty shorts. You only have the cover on here, so it's hard to see.
Yes, it is, but definitely Neil Adams cover.
Not really a threatening.
Yeah, the logo's terrible.
But they say that the art was great, but the sort of the theme, like everything else, was questionable. It was really violent.
And Neil Adams wrote it as well?
Well, he was the only one listed. His name's the only one on the cover.
I'm sure he must be his concept, because this is the point where he had left DC. He worked for Marvel for a while too. He's primarily associated with DC, although he did some X-Men stuff. He did a great run in Marvel too. But
so this would have been after the Batman.
Oh yeah. The Batman's in the 70s. This Batman stuff's in the 70s.
Okay.
And this is also before, if it's 83, it's before he starts his own continuity comics. He kind of went into a thing where he was doing. He got into advertising.
It said he fought for creators' rights. So
he was speaking of Superman again, he was a huge proponent that helped Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, the creators of Superman, get some money. That they had not, because they'd sold the thing for like $150 or whatever, and were doing it just for whatever you get paid. So he went back and tried to get them compensated better, and did the same thing for other artists as well, and just kind of helped establish a policy of, artists could own characters, certainly would own their artwork, because they would, sometimes take this artwork and just destroy it or, whatever. It was scrapped to folks once it was printed.
Yeah.
So he did a lot for those kind of things.
Okay.
And like I said, he's a very talented graphic designer as well as an artist, which is why, but now that I'm looking at the Skateman, it probably has very much of a 80s style, almost graffiti look to it. It's probably intentional.
Yeah, and who knows? I mean, there's no powers. He was just a vet, an angry vet on skates.
Okay.
So he's got. I think there was originally, he mentions that there might have been some licensing tie-ins, but with the bad language and the violence, apparently the licensing didn't work out. It was just one issue, I guess, either that or the booty shorts.
The booty shorts.
So I'm for sure regrettable on this. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. She probably
I'm going to say
them.
sorry, Mrs. Reed. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So anyway.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Reed, for your son saying
Skateman is regrettable as far as I'm concerned. Which leads us to maybe my favorite of the day, Thunder Bunny.
Thunder Bunny.
Are you familiar with Thunder Bunny?
I'm not familiar with Thunder Bunny.
This is a Charlton Comics, but it didn't start there. Apparently, it was like a fanzine character at first, and then came along to Charlton later. And
who were our creators behind this thing?
This would be Martin Grime, Greim.
I don't know.
Grime. He was the one when it finally came to a comic publisher. He was the guy.
The guy that did it. Okay.
Yeah. So, and it seemed it said it was in fanzines first, and then Charlton, and then later, it ended up in Red Circle, which I didn't know this. It was kind of the superhero focused branch of Archie Comics.
Okay.
So he made an appearance there. Something else called Warp Graphics, and there was something else I read, Apple Comics. So he kept making appearances, but just never really found a home. But I like the story here. This one, I'm.
Did we say Skateman? Regrettable?
I did.
Regrettable. Yes.
Skateman definitely regrettable. Okay. Yeah, not redeemable. So you got a guy named Bobby Caswell, and he's just a teen that likes comics. He stumbles on a crashed spaceship. The last survivor of this civilization that was on the spaceship hands him, and I did actually read a little bit about, because I wanted to make sure this was real. I went back and looked on Thunder Bunny. Hands him a box that had like 2 impressions of hands. He puts his hands in those impressions, and the power of this planet's greatest hero comes into Bobby, and it turns out to be Thunder Bunny. So the way he became Thunder Bunny was to concentrate, clap your hands, and then be transformed into this giant pink rabbit in spandex. So he looks very muscular from the neck down, and then you have this pink. It's kind of almost kind of remind me of Harvey a little bit. You know, the story. So, and then I got to thinking, you know, a strong, violent rabbit, you know, kind of remind me of the Holy Grail, the rabbit of Carbonog or something, Carbonog, something like that. But it's pretty, like, kind of Superman powers, strong, invulnerable, moves and flies at the speed of lightning. And but here's the thing: the longer he stays in bunny form, the harder it is to come back.
That's
so
a
I
nice
guess
twist.
you have to concentrate to become the bunny, and I'm assuming to come out of the bunny. And the longer you're in the bunny mode, the harder it is to come back. So that was kind of a twist in this. Some of his foes are Dr. Fogg, Snaka, who is a snake with cyberkinetic arms, teamed up with folks like the Mighty Crusaders. And you might remember Pat Parker, War Nurse, that we talked about earlier in the book.
I do.
Did a team up with Pat Parker at some point. So that's, I think as he went along and, you know, appeared in other places, it was just it just kind of fizzled out. There was no certain number of issues or whatever. It was. That's
what I was going to ask you, but it sounded like there wasn't.
Well, Charlton Bullseye was the comic, and he was just made an appearance in whatever that was, whatever Charlton Bullseye was.
It was probably an anthology set, maybe.
Yeah, could have been. Mm-hmm. And if you on the cover, there's the bunny, there's a human, which maybe was Bobby, maybe it was him
probably.
And then there's like what appears to be an enemy with a kind of a cute dog head. So I guess kept the enemies. I think for kids, as either as a spoof or for kids, that this might be redeemable.
I can see a Saturday morning. They don't have Saturday morning cartoons anymore, but that type of cartoon, something that's fun. Probably a little one of those cartoons that's got, you know, works on the surface level for kids. There's a little something funny going on for adults too, like the Tick and all those kind of things.
Maybe a Pixar kind of an animation where.
So we're going to say redeemable.
I think it's redeemable
in that fashion,
in that genre, in that you know, for that age group.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to bring it back. I mean, I don't think if you're going to bring it serious comic, but that could be a lot of fun.
And I think this is the one that said it kind of the comic itself kind of bordered between spoof and homage. So it had some positive stuff, but I think really going back to that. You know, harder to get back. I think you could do a lot of drama with, you know, who am I and how am I going to get back to who I am, and you know, his friends coming along and say, "Come back, Bobby." I can see that happening. So, all right, so that's Thunder Bunny, I just like saying that.
Thunder Bunny, yeah, that's great.
Maybe my new nickname.
Oh my God!
In studio with
Thunder Bunny.
All right, so the last one today. Is US1.
US1.
Is this one that you have?
Let me see what he looks like.
This is another. This whole set today is
well, actually,
really unique.
When did this come about?
This was May
83?
of '83. Yeah, this is a Marvel.
Yeah. So
Al Milgrom and Herb Trimp.
Yeah, I know Al Milgrom. The logo looks familiar. I'm bound to have seen it on the shelves. This 83, that's, you know, I was in college, and that's kind of those 80 to 84, did not see a lot of comics during that time. Saw several afterwards when, you know, at comic book stores when I was living in Memphis. Okay. But I think this may have been that dark period for me comic-wise.
Well, and this one may have actually been, as far as the ones we've done today, may have lasted the longest, which is interesting because it said that they were originally brought it out thinking they were going to have a collectible toy set or toy line of trucks and stuff. So this is it's about trucking. That's sort of the gist.
US1, and I know this is the highway. The logo is taking off on a highway sign, but this looks familiar to me. I feel like I've seen that.
Yeah.
Did they actually have the toy line?
Well, that's the thing. The toy line never materialized, but he still got 12 issues out of the comic, even without the toy. So I thought, what else is Transformers? I know there's been other toy lines that have generated comics, but I don't know.
Well, Hot Wheels had a comic for a long time.
Okay.
You know, the car existed first. And so they did a Hot Wheels comic. In fact, Neil Adams drew it.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know how long it ran. It probably didn't run very much longer than a year. Or maybe it kind of ran and then would periodically reappear. And
of course, a lot of, even Star Wars was a movie, then a comic, and you've got
we've got a lot of that.
Ninja Turtles.
Usually, there's a comic for a movie. There's going to be a comic tie-in if they don't exist already. Now, of course, everything goes from comics to movies, but Star Wars, all that kind of stuff went.
And there's toy tie-ins. Always.
Thanks to Star Wars.
Yeah, right.
They were before, but exploded with Star Wars.
Yeah, so I guess the toys never happened.
Yeah.
But still went on. The guy's name was Ulysses Solomon Archer, so that's the U.S. Yeah, just nothing fancy, just a natural athlete, a genius. But despite his genius, he wanted to drive a truck like his brother. So they're out driving a truck. A guy or a being, something known as the highwayman, runs him off the road, and bad accident. His brother is thought to be dead. One thing I read online said that he shows up later as a villain, but anyway, he survives the accident, has surgery, and it's almost like $6 million man.
Okay,
comes out of the surgery with a metal shell that took the place of his skull.
Okay.
Which gives him an interesting power of being able to tap into CB broadcasts.
Oh my gosh,
so
that is hilarious.
What better power could a trucker have? It's like the first hands-free set of 1983. Who knew? So.
But 83, even by that point, I think we'd started to see the, CBs weren't the huge thing they were back during convoy days, and that's
right. Yeah,
so I'm sure they were
still around. I'm trying to think when I listened to convoy stuff, and that would have been at least
70s.
4 or 5 years before that. Yeah. So, so CBs was kind of his first power that showed up. He had a headquarter of sorts called the Short Stop, which is a truck stop, kind of a dive restaurant. The regulars there, Wide Load Annie, Retread, Papa Wheelie.
Oh, gosh.
Yep. And this one is this one I didn't get right at first. The woman's name was Taryn O'Connell, but her nickname was Down the Highway. So Taryn Down the Highway O'Connell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Some of the adventures, he fought or was an enemy to a guy named Baron von Blimp and his neo-Nazi soldiers. And this was, I guess neo-Nazi was coming in that era. Nazis were back to Pat Parker War Nurse. But in this part, got involved in a cross-country race hauling chicken parts.
Okay.
I'm sure there's more to that story.
Yeah.
And then he discovered that his rig could be controlled. So he took, I didn't mention this, but in the beginning when he starts his adventures, he outfits his truck with all this advanced electronics because he's a genius.
Yeah.
So he discovers that he can run his rig telepathically also because of his skull.
Okay.
So I guess his powers develop,
yeah,
you say. And then it gets weird.
Then it gets weird.
Yeah, then it gets weird. He fights the highwayman in outer space.
Okay.
Converts his rig to a spacefaring cargo vessel.
Yeah.
The Short Stop becomes the Star Stop. And somehow he made 12 issues out of that.
So you think at some point they go, this isn't working, let's put it in space to see if this is going to help it. I think so.
Maybe.
Because it sounds like to me you've got this premise. Also, I think it's a little behind its time as opposed to ahead of its time. We talked about the CB, but you've got basically $6 Million Man meets Knight Rider meets BJ and the Bear. Or Smokey and the Bandits, whichever way you want to go. Yeah. But so you've got that, but all those things are like 70s things. And so I'm thinking maybe a little late to this game, especially because if Transformers is out, or seem to come around, and it may not be out yet. I can't remember, but anyway, and then Take It in Space seems like an act of desperation there towards the end.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing about this one was one of its editors at some point along the way was Ralph Macchio.
Really?
The not Karate Kid Ralph Macchio.
Oh, yeah,
Remember? I think we talked about
we
this
have talked
before.
about him before, yeah.
So he was a comic editor, but not the Karate Kid. Yeah, so, I just don't know about this one. I was a fan
I'm going
of BJ and the Bear.
I was going to say Regrettable. I'm going to say it does not live up to the sum of any of its parts. And again, whether you're a fan of any one of those three, $6 Million Man, Knight Rider, BJ and the Bear, any of those three would be better than this. And I actually liked all three of those at one time or the other.
And I guess not a show about a trucker and a cast of characters in a truck stop might be an interesting show at some point. But the space stuff and
well, to me, this concept was probably taken a little further. It may have already been developed. I don't remember. But Transformers took that idea better. Instead of having the guy be the driver of the truck, make him the truck itself.
Yeah.
So that's kind of I think that was a cooler concept.
Yeah, but as it is,
I would say regrettable
too. So what do we got? We got 2 Regrettables
and 2 Redeemables. 2
Redeemables. I think it's a good ratio.
Yeah. So that's good.
Yeah. So 2 left.
2 left.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to try to do 2 with Robbie because one of them is
one of
his
them
favorites.
Robbie's favorites, and then the other one was probably a little bit more well known, and we may just end with that one.
Okay.
And I don't know what we'll do after that. I'm going to have to come up with see if there's a version 2 of the book or do our own. I mean, there's probably a list.
Jack Quasar, Regrettable, Redeemable. Yeah. My characters will do that. All right. Well, I guess this has been Jay's Regrettable Segment. As always, brought to you by Thunder Bunny. Jay Thunder Bunny Reed was glad to do our Regrettable Segment here. We'll be back with you next time.